Hello there, fellow captains. This is Sorvesteon coming to you from Naval Action with my third video in my series on crafting. And in this video, I'm going to be covering trading. Now, yes, you can see here in my warehouse, I have a lot of different resources and components. Now, you might be familiar with how to pull resources out of buildings in your outposts. So here I'm looking at my iron ore mine. Now to pull iron ore out of my mine, it costs me 222 gold per 3 iron ore. And of course 1 labor hour. For oak, it costs me 50 gold to pull out just 2 oak logs. So if I click on that and I move my slider up to the maximum, I can get 184 oak logs at a cost of 83 labor hours. Now, in my opinion, resource buildings are a great way of kind of supplementing your income of resources. Like if you're based someplace and you just can't get any of the item that you're looking for, then buildings are a great way to kind of supplement that. However, it tends to be kind of expensive, and it does tend to use up your labor hours, which, if you watched my previous videos, you'll know that labor hours are quite valuable and they're quite limited. And preferably, you would want to be using your labor hours to do other things instead of just pulling out resources from all the buildings and all your different outposts. Not only that, but the resources that you can get from your buildings are limited. You can only get so much per day, as well as the fact that you can only have 5 buildings. So here, like if I go to my buildings, let's move this out of the way. I've got an oak forest, I've got a coal mine, I've got another oak forest, and I've got an iron mine, and I've got a shipyard. See, I can't even have a total of 5 resource collection buildings because I've got a shipyard. So I can only have 4, and that's quite limiting. Most of the time when you're crafting, let's go to the crafting thing. Let's go to shipbuilding, for example. My trader's cutter. Look at this. Look at all the stuff that my trader's cutter requires. Rudder parts, planks, tar, fur frame parts, rigging, canvas rolls, blocks, cordage and oakum, cables and hawsers, iron fittings, wooden fittings, ballast. I mean, no, not that one. Like blocks take lognavidum, tar requires fir log, plank takes oak, rigging parts requires pine, rudder parts require oak and iron ingots. Iron ingots require iron ore plus coal. Iron fittings require, just iron ingots. For canvas rolls, you need hemp. For cordage and oakum, you need tar and hemp. You need hemp and iron ingot. I mean, the list just keeps going on. Obviously, you're going to need way more resources than what you're going to be getting just out of 4 resource collection buildings. So that's where trading comes in. Trading is actually probably the cheapest way to get resources in this game, and probably the most effective as well. So I'm here up in Salem, and I'm just going to go to the shop, and let's click refresh. Alright, so iron ore costed me 220 or 222. Let's just double check that. Yes, 222 for 3 iron ore. Now if I come to the shop, I go to my resources, iron ore, so the port is selling this. You can see there's no I. If I click on this I here, and I get the information, it'll tell me that there are buyers and sellers if there are any. But if there's no I, that means that the port itself is generating and selling these resources. So, and you can see what it produces per day and what it consumes. Produces mean that you're going to get these items cheap if the port has any, and it only produces a certain limited amount per day. It produces a certain amount each hour. And you're going to get more money for these items down here, the items that it consumes. So here, iron ore is selling for 149 per unit. Now, that is obviously a little bit more expensive because I can get 3 iron ore for just 220 gold. But to do that, and remember, or let's take a look at oak. Is there any oak here? Yes. Okay, so for 50 gold, I can get 1 oak log. For 50 gold, I can get 2 oak logs. But to get those oak logs, I have to expend 84 labor hours. And for iron ore, I think it's even more expensive. Let's see here. Oh no, I don't have enough iron ore in here to show you. The point is, you're using up a huge amount of your labor hours. And you're just not really going to be able to use those labor hours for anything else that you want to do, like crafting ships or turning some of your resources into components or like mid-grade notes or stuff like that. Instead, you're going to lose a significant amount just collecting resources. So when it comes to trading or buying directly from the port, sure, you're paying a little bit more gold, but you're saving your labor hours. Not only that, but look at the quantity here. Now, this isn't even that large of a quantity. I've seen ports where you can go in and there's 4,000 coal you can buy. That's huge. So labor, or not labor hours, iron ore here is selling for 149. It's a bit more expensive, but I can get it in much larger quantities. Now that's useful because just like the name implies, trading, right, is all about finding resources for cheaper, taking them someplace else, and selling them for more. Now, I've gone to Port Royal and I happen to know what the price is for a single unit of iron ore. And it happens to be the same cost as it costs to pull out iron ore per labor hour. So in my resource building here, it's 222 gold to produce 3 iron ore for 1 labor hour. In Port Royal, it is 220 gold per iron ore. Now here I'm buying it for 129. I could go to Port Royal and sell it, like the buy orders are 222. The sell orders are even more, up to I think like 260 or maybe even 275 sometimes for 1 iron ore. So I can buy this iron ore and sail it over to Port Royal and sell it for significantly more. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to click on this. And yeah, I'm just going to buy everything. Okay, there we go. You bought 1,392 iron ore for 207,000 gold, which I'm not really too worried about because I know I'm going to make that back. The same thing with hemp. Hemp per unit is in Port Royal is selling for something like 350 or 375 gold a unit. So I can buy 150 units of hemp for just 100 gold, and I'm going to sell it for like 3 times as much. All right. Come on. There we go. All right. And I'm not going to get into lignum vitae log because that's not really that profitable right now. But you can see here, I'm kind of running into a small problem. I don't really have all the resources. Like, we're missing silver and we're missing, well, there's silver here, but that's because I have it in my inventory. This port does not produce silver, so there's no silver for sale unless it's put up by a player, but that's going to be incredibly expensive. So if I go to my map, okay, So I'm up here at Salem at the moment, and Salem produces hemp, iron ore, lignum vitae log, oak log, and Indian tea. And it consumes American cotton, Bavarian spices, Danish beer, French wine, Iberian meat, Swedish iron, historical artifacts, copper ore, and fir log. And now it happens to be a regional capital, and you're going to find the different ports in Naval Action all kind of have like different flavors, kind of like strawberry, chocolate, and vanilla. And this, you could call this chocolate, I guess. So Salam is a regional capital. It sells these things, but if I go down to Tullum, Tullum's also a regional capital, and look, it's selling almost the exact same things. In fact, it is selling the exact same things. If I go to another regional capital, let's say Truxillo, it's selling it produces the exact same things. They are all of the same type. Basically, all the regional capitals, like here, let's go over to Port Royal. Port Royal, okay, it's not selling the same things. It's a different type. But, you know, all the regional capitals are basically the same type of port, and they sell all the same stuff. Now, if we go over and take a look at Cuyo, it's selling teak, live oak, copper, and rum. Canil is selling basically the same thing. Contoy, I haven't visited yet. So here's another aspect about trading. You actually have to go and visit each individual port to go find out what they're actually what they actually produce and what they actually consume. You can make a little bit of money buying resources that a port produces, and then taking those resources to another port where you can then that consumes that resource and sell it there. You'll make about something like 50% profit. I think that's the average. I mean, that's not really that good. If you're just starting out trading, you can do that to try and get a little bit more money, but definitely buying resources from the ports and then selling them to players where there's demand, that's where you're going to make your big money from. All right. So, Yisel produces coal, compass wood, fir log, and gold. Okay, now those are some things that we like. And let's talk about Sissel here. Basically the same thing. Now, I haven't been there, but I've heard Campeche might sell silver. Might. But it's a regional capital, so I'm thinking it might be a lot like Salam. We'll have to go and find out whether it's the same flavor or not. Champoton might sell this stuff, but I haven't been there, and that's what we're going to go find out in this video. I'm actually going to sail down, and I'm going to find out what's in these ports and see if there's anything to buy. Now, another thing with trading is if you're where a whole bunch of other people are, then the chances of you being able to get these good prices or like large quantities of any item is going to be very, very low. What players can do is they can actually set up a buy contract. I could set up a buy contract, let's say for coal. And so he's buying coal at 50, and I could buy coal at 60, and I could buy 5,000 of it. So, and I could just place that contract here in this port. What will happen is, you know, every time this port produces a certain amount of coal, well, this port doesn't produce coal. Let's go with something else that it does produce. It produces hemp. Okay, so, and is anyone buying hemp? Cancel hemp. 50. Okay, so I could, place contract. I could buy hemp for 60 gold. I could buy 2,000 of it, and I could just put this contract here in this port. And anytime this port produces hemp, it's going to do one of two things. Either it'll immediately sell it to the highest bidding buy contract, and if there's no buy contracts, then it will just put it up for sale at the default port price, which you saw me buy from. Ooh, let's also buy some oak logs. So you can put a contract up someplace, leave it there for a couple days, and come back, and your contract will be complete, and you can just haul away all your goods. Mind you, you have to be the highest bidding contract in that port to, you know, get those resources from that port. Or You have to go all the way out where no one's putting up these contracts or no one's buying anything, to where these ports are just basically, or where these resources are basically just stockpiling up. So in the case of, some guys in my clan, we were based out of, an area down south here. He would just kind of go well, it's kind of controlled by the Swedish now, but before it was all British. He would just go all the way down here and he would just kind of collect all the resources that were stockpiling up in all these ports because no one was going down there. There was no reason to. We're at peace with the Dutch, so there's no reason for us to be down here defending it, and so there's no one really doing anything down here. So the traders just loved it. They come down here and they would just buy up a whole bunch of stuff. Of course, that's changed now. What I'm hoping to do in this video is we're going to sail down and maybe trying to hit some of these ports down here that no one's going to, or at least that's what I'm hoping. Alright, so I've got all that stuff. That's cool. So I'm going to jump into my Lagrosse Adventure. Now, the Lagrosse Adventure is really a fantastic ship for trading. She does well sailing upwind. She's relatively fast. She packs some firepower. This is just a basic one because I didn't really see any point in investing in an exceptional one. So I've just put some basic stuff on it because I want it to be fast. And, she's pretty fast. Great, fantastic ship for trading. I mean, there are a lot of other trading ships you can use. The Trader's Lynx is fantastic. It's very fast. It sails incredibly well upwind. No one's going to be able to catch you in it, especially if you get one that's fur and has a copper bottom and speed trim and maybe rigging. The Trader's Cutter is also very good at, escaping from tough situations, and it's very fast. But the problem with these ships is their holds are very small. A Trader's Lynx only has 800, whereas a Trader's Cutter I think has 1600. A Trader's Brig has 2400, and a Trader's Snow has 3200. However, as you go up, these ships become a little bit harder to handle, then they become a bit more vulnerable. The Lagrosse Adventure, of course, being one of the more vulnerable ships because of its size and its slowness to gank squadrons, basically. But for where I am, I don't really have to worry about that. We're friendly with the Americans, and there's no one else really down here. It's too far for the Spanish or the pirates, to kind of come sail down. So we don't really have to worry about that, which is the perfect setup for a trader. Alright, so let's go and let's sail. Entering the open world and sinking Atlantis. Alright, so this is probably a really fantastic time to talk about one of the things that you're going to be doing a lot when you're trading. And that is sailing. And sailing into the wind. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's just go a little bit up. Oh, yeah, we're going to have to tack into the wind here. All right. Yeah, we're getting a decent speed. Unfortunately, yeah. This is what's going to happen when you do trading. You're going to be sailing a lot. And I mean like a lot. You're going to have, sometimes you get good wind, sometimes you get bad wind, but if you don't like sailing, well, then you might not like trading. Especially when you have to go large distances, like if you're going all the way down here, that's going to take you a long time, maybe 8, 12 hours. Yeah, especially because you have to make multiple trips. Like, you'll fill your hold up quite a bit. And, I mean, the Lagrosse Adventure has, quite a nifty hold. It's got 480, or no, 4,800, I don't know, cubic meters, or I forget what the unitage is of that. But anyways, so the point is, the Lagrosse Adventure is a good ship because it has a lot of cargo space. So you're going to get, or you have to make less trips. You can obviously buy more materials, and then you can ship those materials around. And wow, yeah. This could take a little while because the wind is really not that great. So not that great of a start to my trading expedition. That's the way it always is. Thankfully though, the next town isn't really that far. I can already see it in the distance. That's Yissel. And hopefully the wind will shift. But for now, since I think, we don't really need to watch me sailing down there, I'm just gonna skip ahead. Alright, so I've finally arrived at Yissel. I think that took me about 7 or 8 minutes to get here. So just to cover this small distance, so you kind of get, like, well, I was sailing into the wind, but you can kind of get an idea of just how long, how much time you have to invest into this. Alright, so let's enter Yissel, entering port and creating new bugs apparently. So let's find out what that trip has netted us. Let's go to shop, resources. Alright, so there's no coal because it looks like there's a buy order up. Yeah, so this person is buying all the coal for 23 gold, which means that I'm not going to be able to get any coal out of this. However, if I wanted to, I could buy 3,000 for a log, which is not a bad deal, although I'm not really too interested in for a log at the moment. However, the gold I might be interested in, so we're going to buy all that gold. We're going to click confirm. Yep. And I'm going to buy this pine log, because why not? Pine log is, one of those things that you use for masts and other things like that. All right. Another thing that you want to do when you check a port is you want to check the upgrades. So there's powder monkeys, an extra pump, there's an optimized ballast, gunnery handbooks, and look at that, blue boarding axis. Sometimes when you go to ports that haven't been visited, just randomly the port will generate, some very, very nice upgrades for sale. Like you might find some mastercraft, or maybe even rarely an exceptional. Alright, so there's nothing else that I really want here in this port. There's no materials. Materials are crafted stuff. Consumables we're not interested, cannons we're not interested in, so I've already had a look at the resources. So let's go to my equipment and just put this stuff in our hold, or my hold, and that's about it, and on to the next port. Alright, this time, however, the wind is starting to turn in my favor, so hopefully it won't take this long. And that's what I'm hoping. I'm actually kind of hoping that as the wind turns and I get over to Sissel, because the wind's kind of going up here right now, up to the northwest. By the time I get over to Sissel and I'm done, the wind will be heading kind of westish and it'll be turning southwest, which would be nice, because I have a lot of distance to cover. And yeah, like before, I think I'm just going to skip ahead because there's no need for you to watch me sailing for another 5 or 8 minutes. Alright, so we've arrived at Sissel. Didn't take nearly as long, had a good wind this time. And let's see what we have waiting for us. Alright, so yeah, I don't have an outpost here. I did back at Yissel. Resources. Okay, so there's, wow, lots of gold here. No coal. Who's buying coal? Same person. Now that's not totally unexpected because, Salem, Salem is a regional capital. There are lots of people up here, you know, in the northern Yucatan. So I would expect, you know, Sisal, Yisel, Salem, Cuyo, Kano, Kontoy, Mugares, Zupa, Tantum, Cozumel, Tullum. Well, it's this whole area. I would expect, you know, there's a lot of traders going around buying up resources and, you know, transporting them around because, you know, there's a lot of people up here. So I would just imagine, so it makes total sense that we're not really going to find, you know, a lot of the more popular kind of resources. But there's still quite a bit here like this. Fur log, just quite a bit of that. There's still quite a bit of gold. And compass wood is more of one of those kind of commodity things. It's not really something that's going to sell really well. I've already bought quite a bit of gold. I'm not really sure I want to sink a lot more into it. Yeah, see, another 80,000. And what do I have here in my hold? Yeah, I've already used up 600. So I don't think I really want to invest in that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give this port a skip and head on over to the next one. Okay. Back into the open world we go. I mean, so this is trading. You never know what you're going to find. Even at ports you've been to before, you know, there's other people and you're always competing for resources and finding good deals, so it's always new, it's always interesting, except for the sailing, which is not interesting. Well, sometimes it can be interesting. It depends on where you're sailing. I mean, you know, I'm about to head down to Campeche, so I expect this area to be reasonably safe, but I mean, if I was sailing, let's say I was sailing here over on the northern part of Jamaica. Well, there's, you know, pirate ports here, and pirates love to come down here and gank and so forth. If I was sailing, oh gosh, maybe from Les Cayes to Santo Domingo, that would definitely be, well, actually this area tends to be a little bit more quiet. But if I was, let's say I was sailing from Cabo Rojo all the way over to Island Harbor, well, now that's going to be a very interesting sail. So it's going to be very dangerous, and you're in a Lagrosse Adventure or whatever ship you're using, so that is definitely, like, you're going to be a prime target, and everyone's going to be like, ooh, okay, let's see if they're carrying anything interesting that we can make some money off of, like high-grade notes. Okay, cool. I'm getting a fairly nice wind. I'm making a decent speed. This is good, but it's still gonna be a while. So let's skip ahead and to when I get to the actual port itself. Oh boy, look at the weather. This is just horrible, and I was actually worried I might have actually missed the town or the port that I wanted to go to. But it looks like I've made it. Campeche, Great Britain, so... Oh, shallows. Thankfully. I mean, but just look at the visibility. It's absolutely horrible. And I didn't see any ships coming down here. I was totally worried that... Oh, there's one right there. I was totally worried that I might have missed it, you know, because I haven't been around here before. And that's another aspect of trading. You know, you're going to new places, you're unfamiliar with the land, and you might run into weather like this, and you might get lost. Alright, so let's go and enter Campeche. I'm very excited to find out what's here. Haven't been to this port before. Alright, shop. Resources. So there's no silver, although what I had heard was right. There was some this is a port that produces silver, but there's no silver here because, yeah, a bunch of these people are buying it, which means that, you know, the port is automatically selling it directly to them. There is some pine log though. We'll grab some pine log. Okay. And what about upgrades? Nothing really that nothing really that interesting. Okay, let's go to equipment. Let's put our pine log up there. And so, not really that much going on at Campeche, though I could put a contract up here, and I think I might actually do that. Let's see here. Where is resources? There we go. Okay, so what are they putting the contract at? 76. So when these... So the port usually sells at 75. They're selling at 76. Alright. Nope. What I'm going to do is I'm going to keep going and see if I can't find some silver someplace else. Yeah, okay, I got it. Let's go. Silver is the big thing I'm looking for right now. I want silver to craft mid-grade notes. And to craft mid-grade notes, I need... Oh, the weather's changed. Oh, no. It's back to the way it was. At least I know that I'm at Campeche. Anyways, yeah, and to craft silver... Or to craft mid-grade notes, I need silver coins, which means I need silver ingots, which means I need silver ore. And it's actually selling very well in Port Royal right now. So I will catch you at the next port. Alright, so I've arrived at Champoton. Getting here was a little bit difficult. The weather was still horrible outside, but you know, hopefully it'll be worth it. Let's see what we've got in the shop. Resources. Okay, so this is actually doing a bit better. Iron ore. That's something that sells very well in Port Royal, so I'm definitely going to buy all of that. Yes, thank you. Another thing, hemp, the 187, this also sells very well in Port Royal. It's used in a lot of things. And I'm also going to go for some oak log. These are used for planking as well as even for oak frame parts and various different things. So it's a very common resource and it's very much in demand. Unfortunately, no silver. Let's see what do we got for upgrades here. Nope, really nothing that interesting. Some marines, some grog rations, boarding parties, and some common marines. Alright, so let's put this stuff up in my hold. And let's move on to the next port. Alright, so I finally arrived at Puerto Real. I think since I left Salam, it's taken me about over an hour to get all the way down here. You know. But while doing it, I've discovered, you know, some new ports and what they make, so that's all good. Now I'm here at Puerto Real, and it's got teak and live oak. Live oak is particularly interesting, but let's see if it has anything. Resources. Nothing. Someone has put a contract up here and is buying all the live oak. So there's and looks like, yeah, there's just absolutely nothing here to buy and nothing here to buy either. So for all the time I've invested coming all the way down here so far, all I've managed to get is a bit of pine, a little bit of gold, a little bit of iron, some hemp, and a little bit of oak log. Well, I did say that, you know, you never know what's going to happen when you go trading, so this is totally part of the game, the unpredictability. Well, I'm on the quest for silver. The next port is a free port, Victoria. The weather is still really bad. It's been really slow going getting down here, and ever since I felt like, well, ever since I put all this stuff in my hold, you can say I've got 2,200, I just feel like my ship's going slower now. I'm not exactly sure whether or not the amount of cargo I carry in my hold actually affects the speed of the ship. It would make sense that it would. I mean, that would be ultra realistic, but I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments section if you know. But, you know, it just feels that way to me. See, here we go. Yeah, let's get into the... See, you know, I'm at a good kind of angle to the wind, and I'm only making 12, 13 knots. That might be better if I had more, you know, with the wind. However, you know, look at this weather. I don't really want to stray too far from the land. So this is another aspect of trading, you know. Trading takes a lot of kind of navigation, because obviously you're doing a lot of traveling, and you know, things like your speed trim, all that stuff, it's really going to affect and take minutes off of, you know, your travel time, because it's really adding up. I mean, it's already been an hour and 15 minutes since I started recording this video. Alright, so again, you don't need to watch me sail, so I will see you at the next port. So I'm still on my way to Port Victoria, but it seems like I'm making fairly decent speed. You can see, like, I'm heading directly west, and the wind is almost heading directly northwest. So at this angle, I think this is where the Lagrosse Adventure, you know, really shines. This is the angle she really likes to be at, and this is where you're going to net most of your speed. Let's see if I turn her a little bit more in to the wind. Yeah, it's about the same. The ship goes a little bit faster, so this might be the kind of the optimum angle that you want to sail at if you can catch the wind this way. Obviously, you know, as you've seen and no doubt experienced in your time playing Naval Action, that is quite often not the case, and you simply have no other choice but to deal with a very, very annoying wind. Oh, and there's Victoria up ahead. The weather's cleared up, which is quite nice. And I hit Victoria, and then it looks Santa Ana and Espirito Santo are not that far off. So we'll hit them up too until my cargo hold is full. Alright, so I have arrived at Victoria. Now, Victoria is a free town. Now, that means no one is allowed to capture it, but anyone from any nation can dock there. It's a very popular place for pirates or other nations to kind of set up as their ganking base of operations, so you definitely want to be careful when you come to free towns. And actually, typically, if it weren't for this area and the fact that there's not really very much going on around here, I would kind of suggest you avoid them completely, just because, you know, it's so easy to get ganked. Alright, so here we are in Victoria. Let's see what it has to offer. Wow, that's a lot of iron ore. 35, almost 36,000 iron ore. But look at the price. I mean, that's crazy. We're not going to buy iron ore at 447 each. Copper ore, that's okay. But yeah, not really anything there that we want to buy. Let's see here. Anything? Nope, nothing. So it looks like we're going to have to give Victoria a skip too. And back out into the open world we go. The other two ports aren't that far away, so hopefully it won't take that long to get there. But I'm going to skip ahead anyways because, yeah, you don't need to watch me sailing around. Oh, there we go. In the open world. Alright, so I have arrived at Santa Ana. Now, thankfully, all the ports on this coast are deep water ports, as the Lagrosse Adventure, as I call it anyways, is a deep water ship, being, you know, a frigate-sized ship. There are some ports, like, let's go up here, like these ones, for example. These are shallow water ports. So the biggest thing that you're going to be able to to access them with would be a trader snow. So just a little bit of planning ahead. You know, if you're gonna go to a port, make sure that you are in a ship that can get into the port. Nothing worse than sailing all that way just to find out that you can't even get in. All right, Santa Ana, what do you have to offer? Okay, so we got hemp, iron ore, oak log. Okay, this is good. I'm liking this. Let's see what we got for upgrades. Nothing special. So, but resources, I am definitely liking this. We are going to go and we're going to grab all the hemp. And I'm going to grab all the iron ore. Equipment. Alright, so iron ore, let's put that in there. Okay, I'm getting kind of full. Yes, I am. So I'm up to 3,900. I have 900 left. Oak log has a weight of 2.5. So if I was to buy oak log, I would only be able to put around 353 oak log into the remaining space of my cargo hold. Well, nope, we're not going to do that. I do want to check out one more town. We're all the way down here. So this one is oak log. I'm really curious to see what Espirito Santo has, and it's not that far away, so I'm going to go check that one out before I fill up the rest of my hold. Ooh, you know, it would be so cool if there was actually treasure you could find. I mean, that would just, like, that would be so cool. Like, to be able to go on treasure hunts. Okay, so the wind is against me. I'm going to have to sail out of this little cove to get back into the wind. Well, I will see you guys at the next port. Okay, so I'm at Espirito Santo and no silver. It does have, you know, a healthy amount of some stuff. Iron ore. Hemp, definitely going to go for. This stuff sells really well at Port Royal. Okay, how much room do I have? Ooh, yeah, it's getting full. Okay, so I guess at this point, the big question is, do I want to continue up the coast to Alvarado and Veracruz in search of silver? Well, we don't know what's up there. There's a regional capital. It might be like Campeche, where there's silver there. Yeah, sure, why not? We'll head up there. Those two aren't that far away. So I could stack myself with some more iron ore, but I'm not going to do that, and I'm going to hope for the best as I head up to grab, hopefully, some iron, or not iron ore, some silver. Okay, let's go. Now, it's kind of at about this time, like, my hold is almost full. And, you know, when your hold is this full, you really have to, you know, worry about ganking. I mean, trading is not without risk. Absolutely not. I mean, I've spent... How much have I spent? I've spent 400,000 gold so far on this little run, and I'm hoping to probably sell all this for maybe $1 million, maybe 1.2 million. or maybe even more depending on the prices. Some of these things are worth, like the hemp especially, is worth, like 3 or 4 times, what I'm buying it for. So the iron ore, not so much, but everyone needs iron ore. It sells very quickly, so the fact that it moves so quickly, it's a great thing to make money off of. That's also the reason why I'm kind of diversifying. I've got pine log. Pine log it moves at a relatively moderate rate. Gold, I think, is more of a commodity item. Iron ore and hemp, they move relatively quickly. Oak also tends to move, kind of moderately quickly. So, in my trading, I'm kind of diversifying what I'm buying. And while the wind really sucks, I think I'm definitely going to have to skip ahead to the next port. I will see you there. Well, it's been a long sail. Almost or around 2 hours since I started. Actually, I went to Alvarado, but there wasn't really anything particularly interesting there. So I am at Veracruz, which will be definitely my last stop. As I don't think I have the stamina to really go any farther. 2 hours of sailing and hitting up all the different ports for trade goods definitely takes its toll. So let's see what Veracruz has to offer. Okay, shop, resources. Oh boy. Not what I was hoping for. Well, we'll grab some hemp. And we'll grab some oak log. Yeah, let's just check and make sure that this is, yeah, so he's just buying. Alright, I don't have that much space, so we'll just go with 200. Okay, and anything in upgrades? Nope, nothing interesting there either. That's unfortunate. Looks like I did not get lucky with upgrades. I do know some people who have bought in or who have found like exceptional upgrades. Alright, let's get out of here. Sail. Polishing the whales, apparently. Okay, so I'm out here. I have a ton of stuff in my cargo hold, way more than what I would like to sail all the way back around up to Salem with. And in fact, I'm not going to. I've been talking a lot about Port Royal, right? And that's what this handy-dandy port to capital thing is for. Yes, are you sure you want to do that? I am sure. Instead of sailing all the way back, I'm going to use my teleport to go directly to Port Royal with basically everything I have in my cargo hold. I already have more than enough resources at the place where I'm doing my trader's cutter kind of production to level up my crafting. I really don't need any of these resources, and it's purely just for making money. And the best place to make money is back in Port Royal. Alright, so I've got 70 seconds, 70-ish seconds. I will see you back in Port Royal. Alright, I'm back in Port Royal. Time to get rid of all this stuff and to make a profit. I mean, that is the whole goal of trading. That's the whole reason why I'm doing all this, right? So let's go to the shop. Or actually, before that, let's offload all this stuff. I don't really need to do this. I just like doing it for no particular reason other than, I don't know. Let's go to the shop. So I already had some contracts up. So my low grade notes are still there. I haven't sold any of my iron ore. Actually, I relisted that. But I've sold all my hemp, so let's claim that one. And it looks like I'm gonna have to reset my iron ore. Whatever you do, do not press delete contract, because that will just get rid of everything there. If you can't get into the port where you set up your contract, you can delete it remotely. To manipulate any contract you make, you have to be in that port. Okay, so I put my iron ore up for... Thank you. I put my iron ore up for 275. So someone has undercut me by about 5 gold each. Hemp is selling for 350. Okay, so we're gonna place some contracts. Let's see here. Iron ore, I'm going to place mine at 260. Why not? Hopefully it'll sell quicker. I'm selling, wow, almost 3,000 of them. If this all sells, which is unlikely to, actually what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put half of it up so that I don't have to relist it. I am expecting people to come and undercut me eventually. So I'm going to have to sell this in 2 parts, but I'll still make a fair chunk of gold from it. Place contract, yes, confirm. And I want to get rid of that hemp as well. Place another contract. Yeah, let's sell the hemp. So the hemp was selling at 350. Let's sell it at 340. And yeah, I want to sell all 600 of it. Alright, now let's find out what gold is selling at. Gold is selling at 180, and I only bought it at 152. So it looks like I'm not going to make that much money off of gold right now. So in fact, I'm not even going to bother selling it. I'm going to wait and see if that price goes up. Okay, so what else did I have? I had oak log, 250. I was buying it for 50 a piece. Okay, let's put it at 240. Yeah, let's undercut them a little bit more, 235. Okay, place contract, yes. And what else can we sell? We can sell pine log. How much do I have of that? 240. What was pine log valued at? Here it is. Oh, well, now that's not good. It's totally not in demand. Well, then I'm going to keep that, and I'm just going to send it back home. I'm going to take it back home. So I'm going to keep my gold and the rest of my iron ore here, and I'm going to have to sell my iron ore later. But it looks like, after all said and done, if I'm able to sell the other stack of this iron ore, I'll probably make around about 1.2 million, maybe 1.3 million, somewhere around there, from doing that trade run, which is not too bad. And you know, obviously if you're going to acquire resources for crafting, then this is probably one of the best ways to do it. As you can tell, you know, buying stuff from the shop is horribly expensive in Port Royal, and Port Royal is pretty much like the major trade hub. So this is pretty much everything you need to know about trading and how to make money with trading. It obviously comes down to your play style. You can do fleet order grinding, and that will net you quite a bit of money as well, as long as if you also learn how to do boarding and you capture Santismas, you can probably make over 300,000 in every mission you do, or for every fleet order you do, assuming they're rear admirals and you get Santismas. But anyways, this has been trading. So don't forget to subscribe and like the video if you liked the video. Obviously, trading is not for everyone. And I'll catch you next time. Until then, this has been Sorvesteon in Naval Action. Take care and happy sailing.